3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Lovey. And we want to welcome...
It has been a minute, though.
Oh, it has. It's been a long minute. It's been a good 2 weeks because we were traveling back east on our trip to New York and New Jersey.
New York City.
Right. And I have to say that it was a blast. We had a great time.
Phenomenal time.
I've been to New York one time before, and it was on business. And back when Derek and I started this company called Inspired, and we had affirmation tools. Speaking of, it's our iCan that you've heard us mention several times. We had 10 different iterations, and we launched it there back in 2010 at the International Toy Fair.
Well, it was my first time going.
Oh, I'm just saying. I went then.
Oh, okay. I thought you were...
No, and
Okay.
Derek and our other business partner, Greg, they were like, oh, let's go see New York. And I didn't want to go. Greg goes all the time. And so Derek wanted to see stuff, but I refused to go see the sights because my wife wasn't with me. And so I said, you know what? So that was 11 years ago. And then so we finally went together, and now it was our time to actually go see the city.
Yeah, guys, this was my first time going to New York. I was super, super excited about it. It was amazing. We had an amazing time. And I just want to, since we're talking about New York and we're talking about the trip, I would be remiss and I would be very wrong if I did not give a shout out to our neighbor, Ruthie Chisholm. So this is the lady, sis. Hey, Ruthie. She wrote the book Sister Knit that we.
Why do you guys do that?
What?
What is that? I don't know what that is. How is that even attractive? I'm like, what is? It's like somebody said, "Oh, make it sound like a sick frog." I'm like, what is? I don't even know. I don't know what's up with the youth or my wife trying to hang out with our daughters. Or as Ashanti says, you trying to be me again? You trying to be me?
Oh
anyway,
my gosh.
sorry.
Anyway,
back to Ruthie.
I'm going to start doing it all the time now. Anyway, so I want to give a shout out to Ruthie Chisholm. She is the author of
Sister Knit. You keep saying sister. It's sister.
Sister Knit. I'm sorry, because I pronounce.
Anyway, so Sister Knit. So we talked about her book a long time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but Snooks has.
And it's still available. You get it off of Amazon. Great read. But she met us out in New York, and she showed us around. She took us to Harlem. We ate at Red Rooster.
We rode on the train.
Yeah, we rode on the train, girl. We went to Grand Central Station. I'm saying I was the only one. Famous Grand Central Station. To me, I think it's famous. But
all you East Coasters are like, these guys are fools. That's just
regular stuff.
But I'm telling you,
just regular. So I'm like, what movies were made here? I started looking it up. Men in Black. She was
doing it all.
there.
She was doing it all.
It was great.
It was such a good time. I mean, and thank you to Ruthie for taking time out of your weekend.
Man, it was.
We spent
phenomenal.
2 days.
Yeah, on Saturday and then again on Monday. And we walked around.
Went to the Red Rooster. Thank you, Darla, for making the recommendation. And we had a blast.
Yeah, it was a great time.
What was your favorite part though? Of New York? New York.
Oh man.
I loved going to Harlem.
Yeah, we went to Harlem. That was great too. And you know what? I enjoyed everything about New York except for the small hotel room. I didn't like that. That room was too tiny for me.
Oh, that's just because of the way the city is built.
But still, I'm gonna.
But you know what's funny? So we go to Harlem, and of course, they got street vendors everywhere, and it was cool.
We saw an impromptu music festival.
Oh, music festival is out there for like this health thing that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it was dope. I mean, and even the people that we interacted with that were down there, that are there every weekend, just cool people.
Yeah.
Real cool people. So I was really pleased, and we'll definitely be going back.
It was funny because someone asked, he goes, where are you from? He said, oh, California. I said, oh, has anyone ever told you have an accent? It's like, nope. I guess we do. I mean, for East Coast,
Right, right.
but it was great. We went to, like Lovey said, we went to Harlem, saw the Apollo Theater. We didn't get to go in, but that was big for me. I've always wanted to go to Harlem because I love the Renaissance.
Yeah, our nephew performed there twice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, came in
Tori did.
second twice over at the Apollo, and he did a phenomenal job. It was just nice to kind of see what he saw and what he went to. I wish we could have actually gone in, but just hanging out, walking around, getting some of the history. Ruthie telling us, about her youth, growing up there in Harlem, and it was nice, being down home with down home people. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And then we went to
the memorial.
We went to Times Square. That was bananas. Okay, so I do have to say this. So I've seen on movies where they have the cars and they're in an intersection and everyone's honking, and is it a movie thing? No, that's a real thing out there. People don't care. They drive like crazy people. They block intersections, and they just honk their horn. Like Lovey said, when we were there, he's like, I think honking is another form of language out here.
It is. There's all kinds. So you'll hear Armenian, you'll hear Russian, you'll hear Spanish, you'll hear Chinese, Japanese, Korean, English, and then you hear horn honking, because it is. It was funny. It was like sometimes they just honk the horn for the sake of it. We're in an Uber.
The light turned green.
Nothing was happening. Nothing. I mean, like the light was red, and the traffic was stopped. And dude just got bored and just honked the horn. I'm like, what the hell is that? Why are you who are you honking at? First off, we were the first car in line. He was honking at the light.
I don't know.
Why would you honk at the light?
And even when the light like turns green, if you don't instantly move, it's like they give you like a 1 second grace period, because after 2 seconds, if you don't move, it's not the person that's just behind you. It's like 5 cars back. They're honking the horn. I was like, wow, these people are bananas out here.
It was something else. Oh, but let me tell you about the experience we had. So we took Snooks out there, and then we had dinner on this cruise. If you've seen our social media, you saw the nighttime cruise that we went on the Hudson River, which was phenomenal. It was such a good time. It was
beautiful.
I highly recommend doing that at night. To the Statue of Liberty.
Under the Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge, all that at night. And the food was amazing. The food was
really good.
But
I didn't give you a lot.
We're sitting there, and so the devil tried to take our joy, because I ordered I'm gonna put him out there. I ordered a Lyft because of the hotel that we were staying in, and I was like, okay, let me use Lyft. It's connected to the hotel. Blah blah blah. Never had a bad experience. This is the one experience I've had out of all my experiences, whether with Uber or Lyft. We get there, and we're waiting outside, and it says your driver's arrived. I'm like, okay, cool. So I look at it. You know how you do. You check the license plate, right? And you ask the person their name. So we go up there. I said the dude's name, and he was fumbling with his phone. It's like he was, I don't know, frantically trying to do something on his phone. So I'm thinking, okay, well, no big deal. I open the door, let Snooks in. I get in the car. By the time Snooks has already got her seatbelt on, I'm putting my seatbelt. I just clicked my seatbelt in. The guy turns around and says, "Oh, sorry." They
give me another ride.
Yeah, he said they give me another ride. I'm like, wait, what? So I pull it up my phone. I said, your name is? Yeah. I go, and is your license plate number? Yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, then all of a sudden my phone is now looking for a new driver, saying that your driver will be there in like 7 minutes.
Yeah. The guy was like, oh, it's 7 minutes. And I was still confused. I was like, wait, what? I said, how could they give you another ride when we're here? I'm like, we're already in the car, so you might need to cancel them. That's what I was thinking,
So then it clicked for me. So I got out the car, walked around, opened the door for Snooks, let her out, and I tapped on dude's window. And he rolled down the window a little bit. And I said, you denied ours, didn't you? And he said, I said, you denied our ride, didn't you? And then he said, yes. And then he drove off.
Like real fast, trying to speed.
I'm like, this fool. Snake. I'm like, really? Just because we're African-American, you freak out? Because it was a busy area. People were walking all over the place. So he didn't see us, who his riders were, right until we got there. Right. Because there were people walking all over the place. And so, right. And then that's when he started freaking out. I think when he saw that we were making a beeline to his vehicle, that's when I saw him fumbling with his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was so mad, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to trip. I'm just going to go ahead and order another car because we got dinner to get to. And we did. And then it took forever. It was stuck on 7 minutes for like 15 minutes. I was like, okay, we're going to miss our boat. So I ended up switching over to Uber, who was there promptly, and then took us to our destination.
But you know, it's so funny because like you just said, the devil tried to steal our joy. But in the process of that happening, we actually met three beautiful ladies. They were there visiting. You know, I won't say Lovey kind of started the conversation more than I did. I chimed in after the fact, but we told them that basically, I don't know if we told them right then who we were, but he was like, oh, you guys listen to podcasts, or did that come up later? I can't remember.
I remember how it came up, but
because they were
what it was. No, they asked why we were here, and then Snooks told them that we were there for the TED Talk.
Oh yeah. And so they was like, oh yeah, TED Talk, blah, blah, blah. And then they told us that they went to a musical.
Yep, they went to a musical.
So they're there from Houston, and they went around to see the city. And, you know, so we just kind of struck up a conversation because they also had a lift, and theirs was also stuck on 7 minutes or whatever. So we, you know, it was cool, engaging. And so when we got in the car and they decided to walk, so we said, all right, have a good evening, whatever. So after the cruise around the bay, we came back. It was Sunday night and Steels were playing. So he's like, hey, let's have a nightcap. And we sat down in the bar area of the hotel. And so we started watching the game. Lo and behold, as soon as the game was over, they were getting ready to shut the restaurant down. We see the ladies come up. And so everyone's like, oh, hey, you know, how was your evening? Blah, 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 whatever. So we all get in the elevator and they're like, oh, you know, we like TED Talks. So, you know, we didn't even ask you what your TED Talk was about and blah, blah, blah. We happened to be on the same floor. So we got off the elevator and we started.
And we were loud.
We were heck loud. Oh, I would have been mad at us if I was in the room. And I didn't realize, though, that, you know, we were.
Snooks had been drinking.
I had one glass of wine. But so then we told them who we were as far as like.
It just sounds so weird. We told them who we were.
Like we are somebody. Hey, you know, hey, I'm not supposed to do that.
Well, how do you do it? Oh, okay, no, don't do that. No, but we sat there, but we just talked about stuff that we were into and we were doing. And so they looked it up and
I'm like, yeah, we
so we hope you're listening.
Podcast. So shout out to Mercedes and Belinda. They were the ones that were out there. And the other lady, I know she went in because she was like, okay, I gotta go in, y'all. We didn't really get to I don't remember saying her name, I can't
remember it either.
But yeah, she went into the room, but we sat and we chit-chatted with Mercedes and Belinda for a while from Houston. So
that was fun.
Shout out to them. Yeah, that was great. So in actuality, we gained some more followers, and from the guy being.
Wait, let me tell you about Ruthie.
What he was.
So when we're walking around Harlem,
Ruthie
had us dying.
She's like, yeah, I'm be your publicist.
So we were wearing our T-shirts that say "Married into Crazy," mm-hmm. And so a lot of people like that, and so they'll see that. And there's going to be some new gear coming out probably within the next 6 months. But people were making comments, and then they would smile. So when they would smile, I would just be like, "Oh yeah, okay, hey, how you doing? That's nice." I'd be, "Oh, they like the shirt." Ruthie been in the full-on PR mode. She's like, "Oh, don't just smile. You need to go to the podcast. You need to go to either, I don't care if you're on Spotify or iTunes or whatever. You need to download them because you need." I was like, "Shoot, we need to walk around with Ruthie more often.
Can we just hire you
right
now?" No, but it was amazing, guys. It was so much fun. So we went to I said Times Square. Times Square was amazing to me. It was way too crowded, but I love the lights at nighttime. And it's a trip because I kept trying to picture when the ball drops. I'm like, where's the ball at when, you know, at midnight? I was like, where do they put it at? So I'm trying to figure all that out. But anyway, we were there. We went to.
Can I just say that the song was absolutely right?
What song?
Freaks Come Out at Night.
I wasn't a freak.
No, but everybody at Times Square was. It was bananas.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And everyone was saying like, "Oh, there's barely anybody here." And I'm like, if this is barely anybody,
no, I didn't. I don't like big crowds. And then I'm just trying to figure out how do they fit all these people? Because like I said, it looks so much bigger on TV. Times Square.
Always
then
does.
I get there, it's like, I couldn't.
And it's
I know
people
I
on top
couldn't
of
do
people
that.
on top of people.
Yes, it was crazy
Years
bananas.
ago, I did New Year's at Trafalgar Square, which is
In London,
in
right?
London. It's kind of like London's
Times
version
Square.
of Times Square,
Okay.
very similar. And even then, I mean, it was people on top of people everywhere. Yeah, the horses, kind of like New York. They have horse mounted police officers. Same thing in London, and horses taking craps everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
see,
like it was
I
just a
wouldn't have been
mess.
able to enjoy it because I'd be so worried I'm gonna step in some boo boo or
Well, there's
something like
that.
that.
That does
So
happen.
no, that would not be fun for me. But we were down there. Then we went to we did see like Lovey said, we were on the cruise. We
Met some
rode
good people
under.
on the cruise.
Oh yeah. Don't tell me. Chris and I can't think of her name. What is her name? Not Haley.
Hazel.
I was close. Sorry, Hazel.
Yeah, and so we're going to definitely try and connect with Hazel
Shout out
again.
to them.
Yeah,
It was
great
Chris's
couple.
birthday. So happy birthday again. Anyway.
Great conversation on the boat. Nice young couple. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. All that. And we don't want to give you a blow by blow, but there were.
I do. Anyway. So under the bridge though, that was amazing. You got to go see that, and even the Statue of Liberty. And it's funny, we were on the water. It wasn't that cold. I thought it was cold, but I was thinking it was going to be a lot colder then. And guys, I went to I said one thing that I really wanted to do was go to the 9/11 memorial. That was amazing. Oh my goodness. And we didn't even get to stay as long as I wanted to stay because we had to get ready for the cruise, but I could have stayed there all day. And then
Shayline, you put her in the museum. Look, I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I want to keep it moving. She wants to sit there and go, oh, that's nice. Look at the frame on that picture. And wow. I wonder what kind of, she looks at everything. Is that gold leaf backing on the picture? And I'm just.
Cut it out. Anyway, so it was very touching. Is that
real velvet on the rope?
I'm going to turn your mic off.
But no, she gets in there. She goes into detail. But I will admit, when we got down there, we agreed before we went there that we're not going to have time. So we're not going to actually go in the museum. We're just going to go down the memorial, pay our respects, kind of look around at ground zero. But as soon as we got there, we both were like, oh, we got to go in.
Yeah.
And we went in, and
I'm so glad that we did go in.
I'm so happy that we went in.
Yeah.
And I was even disturbed, like, I don't want to leave yet because there's still so much more I want to see. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like we probably got through about 80% of the museum.
Yeah, but the other 20% we had to go by fast, and I like to take my time. So
some really neat exhibits were in there, and take some tissue because I don't care who you are, where you're from. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that just grabs you. There's something in there that will pull on that heartstring.
Well, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it
she cuts me off.
But it just made me just more appreciative of my spouse, because they had some recordings of some of the people that were on flight 93. I'm sorry, flight 93. They said there were over a few hundred calls that went out, but there was only a few that actually made it to their destination. And these were people that were leaving messages to their spouses and just the love that they have for them. And it just made me just like appreciate Lovey so much more because I'm like, wow, here today, gone tomorrow, basically.
Right. And there was another one too, where I don't remember if it was flight 93, but because
it's towards the beginning.
It's very dramatic. Yeah. It's very dramatic. And it was all real. It's not as if any of these things were dramatized and dramatized, or however you pronounce it, but these were actual recordings. And there was one in particular that I got literally frozen in my tracks and probably listened to about 5-6 different times, where this husband called home and left a message and basically was telling his wife that, I don't know what's going to happen, but I want you to have a good life. I want the kids to live life. I want you to be happy. Tell my parents I love them. Know that I love you. And it was just the selflessness in that moment, and listening to it. I just got chills right now. And it broke my heart.
Yeah.
It really broke my heart.
He was from Tower 1. I remember that because it took me a while to move past that. And that's when,
And mind you, we didn't do this together.
oh yeah, no, I left Lovey, or Lovey left me, or whatever, because
we're looking at different things at different times. And but it's interesting that one thing, I mean, there were so many other things, but that one thing had such a major impact on us. It's definitely worth seeing. Here's something else that stood out to me. I was telling this to one of our clients earlier today. We had a session, and she asked what stood out to me the most, and was there like a feeling you got while you were there? And it wasn't so much like a feeling of reverence, or like, you feel like the clouds are parting. And
at 9/11.
At 9/11, yeah.
Okay.
And what stood out to me wasn't so much a feeling, but it was like, as I looked around, I don't know if you noticed this. You looked around and you listened to people. I was listening to people. I'm a people person. And there were so many languages. I heard Russian, I heard Korean, I heard Chinese, I heard Japanese, I heard Spanish. I heard Italian. And there was like some Scandinavian language that was being spoken as well. Just different people. So I'm looking around, and what really grabbed me was that here we were in New York, and at ground zero, where this was a terrorist act that took place on U.S. soil. And yet there were people from all over the world that were there paying their respects. And the same thing inside the museum. You would think that, it's a museum about a terrorist act that happened in the United States. It's all about, the capitalist center of the world. But there were so many people from different countries that were there. And it just reminded me of the humanity that grew from that. Immediately following this tragic, atrocious act, the world came together. And I felt as if the world is still coming together, even if it's a little disjointed. And regardless of what goes on, it made me feel like we're not that far as we think we are from people coming together. It was just a really interesting thing. And it wasn't so much a feeling, it was more of an observation.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say I got that feeling. I did see.
You didn't. You have to be real deep to get that.
Lovey's trying to get finished. But no, like you said, there were different nationalities, and you heard different dialects and languages that were spoken. And when we were inside, there was the recordings for the Flight 93. There was a family. Gosh, I don't know what they were, but the lady was reading it, and she was translating it for someone in her family in their language. It was just, it was so many people that left that room, and they were just really moved.
It's worth taking your children. I think I wish our kids, all three of them, could have been there to understand, but we probably wouldn't, because the last time we took all three of them to a museum, I wanted to choke them out.
Okay, no, let me just tell y'all about this one. Talking about the Smithsonian?
Yes.
We went to the Smithsonian in Virginia, but we didn't go to, it wasn't the big one. It was the Smithsonian for
the aeronautical.
Planes. Yeah. So that was a little bit different. They were into the main one, not at the museum Smithsonian.
Anyway, they didn't care about the other one until we told them, this is where they filmed Transformers.
Oh yeah, on that one area over there. Oh yeah.
Then I was like, okay, let me wake up. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just off on a tangent.
But anyway,
but it was a really good time, And then of course we had to take the jaunt from New York over back to New Jersey to do the TED Talk for my company, and it was a blast.
Lovey did amazing. He did amazing. He'd like to focus on the things that he forgot to say, but no one knew that he forgot. I did, because I knew the speech, but no one knew it. I mean, it's like, for a dramatic pause, maybe, but it didn't take away from it at all. He did an excellent job. He really did. He did an excellent job, and everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. They were like, "Oh, are you Snooks? Are you're Ernie's wife, right?" And
you know what she said? No. No, but it turned out really well, and it was so much more than what I thought it was going to be. Talk about being able to share the stage with 10 other amazing people from all over the United States and the world. Julian wasn't able to make it in from France. He's from Normandy, France. And so they showed his videotape, It'll be in the movie that's going to be released, just unfortunately within our company. We have about 135,000 employees worldwide, and so it's going to be made available to all of them. And we are going to have a watch party. If anybody that's interested in seeing it, we'll probably do one on just Married into Crazy on our site, and then I'll probably maybe do one for family elsewhere. But what's really cool though is just hearing other people's stories. And what I thought was very cool is that almost every person I can think of, everyone, as a matter of fact, everyone out there, with the exception of 11 stories.
I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
11 stories, and 10 of them had a very strong reference to God in every one of them. And the one that didn't, no shade, it's just that the context of what he was talking about, it would have been, like trying to force it in there because it was more of a business application that he was referencing and talking about. But the 10 of the 11 all had very strong references to God in their in our talks. And that stood out to me. And I thought that's pretty amazing that everybody talked about God. And that we're talking about in a corporate setting, right? You're talking about the largest healthcare company in the world. And there was no fear in letting people know where our individual strengths and our support comes from. So I thought that was pretty dope. And of course, I got to mention Snooks and mine, and I had everybody go over there and look at my little queen bee.
Whatever. Well, it's funny you kind of bring me up like that, but I was thinking, you never, it's so great when you see people applaud their spouses. You know what I mean? Someone would go up and you see their spouse is like totally engaged and they're just rooting them on and almost probably wanting to say everything line for line with them. It's really great when you can root on your spouse, champion your spouse, and just be there when they do something amazing and a big accomplishment. Because, a TED Talk is not, for me, I don't think that's any small change. Because first of all, I'm not going to remember anything that much. I mean, I feel like I couldn't remember, but you're talking basically for maybe 15 minutes and you remember everything that you're saying. There are no cue cards. You don't have any notes. You can't scribble something on your hand. You're talking and you're engaging and you're, sharing your point of view, being very passionate about it. But just as passionate as you are on the stage, the looks of adoration from the spouses, everyone's so proud and they're just like, hey, good job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was
cool. Great. I thought it was great.
It was really nice. And to be able to meet all the spouses. One thing that Snooks brought up that we are going to relate this to marriage.
I just did.
And you did. And Snooks brought up the fact that, was my speech perfect? It wasn't, because I forgot a couple of pieces. But it's funny. It reminds me, I just thought of it right now, that just like us as couples, we're perfectly imperfect, but made for each other. It's like my speech wasn't perfect, but it perfectly shared the impact and the content that I meant to get across. Because when people came up and talked about it afterwards and made reference to it later on in the day, even in the 6 months leading up to it, just my topic, people were like, oh, I've shared that with people, or I've talked to this, and I've spoken to this now, and I never even thought about this beforehand. Even in our imperfection, you just don't know what kind of impact you're going to have on other people. And the lesson is that, what did I do for probably a good day and a half? I obsessed over the fact that I forgot what I thought were two major parts to my talk, which realistically had nothing to do with the true content of my talk, but it was there for, to be a little bit more dramatic. And it's a part of the storytelling. And even though they were left out, no one would be the wiser. And you guys are probably going to be like, okay, what's he talking about? So when you see it, if you get an opportunity to see it, you'll be like, okay, well, where did it go? So I hope it flows. But I focused on what I didn't do, as opposed to focusing on what I did do. And I think so often in our relationships, we have a tendency to focus on what so-and-so didn't do. what they failed to do, or what they didn't say, or what they didn't get you, or it's always on the negative, as opposed to really
taking away the nuggets
and really focusing on the positives. What did they do? What did they help you achieve? What, if you weren't there with them in that moment, where would you have been?
Right. It's funny that you bring this up, because earlier today we did a little mini counseling session, basically. And that kind of came up. You're focusing on this thing and you're battering and focusing on it so tough that you miss all the good stuff, or the stuff that happened that was positive, because I'm zoned in on this one particular aspect that was not, a good look, maybe. I don't know. But it was something that, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or, oh, maybe this or whatever. But you can't let that go. It's like a pit bull. I'm not going to let it go.
Right.
I'm going to just keep holding on, keep holding on. Meanwhile, all this other good stuff is happening, but we focus on the negative in our relationships, about our partner, about our spouse. Well, he didn't put the dishes up right. Well, the fact that he put the dishes up in the first place,
Come on, say that.
You might just have to move some glasses around.
Does that count when?
That does not count for you. Move your hand off my knee.
Does that count when? I want to fold clothes.
Really? No.
See, I'm just saying, I got witnesses now.
That doesn't count when I want to fold clothes. First of all, let's revisit that statement. Does it count when I want to fold clothes? When do you want to fold clothes?
I always was. She doesn't let me.
Lovey doesn't want to fold clothes
because I'll fold them, and then she'll sit there and unfold them and fold them back the way she wants to.
That's the towels.
Towels
and your underwear.
And my underwear. Look,
Lovey doesn't even fold them.
This is drawers. They're gonna go on anyway.
I hate that.
I'm going off task.
See, you're trying to just make a point and be right. Anyway, let me get back to my nuggets that I was saying.
Go on.
Nah, just kind of bringing that up. Like you said, we focus on what's negative, or what was missed, or what didn't happen, as opposed to all the good things that did happen. The whole 15 minutes of the talk were wonderful, and you forgot maybe 30 seconds of it, and you fixated on those 30 seconds. And I'm like, dude, it's good. Everything flowed. And honestly, maybe you didn't need to say that, because I felt like it was dramatic enough that it could have been, someone could have just fixated on that. They could have lynched onto that. And
that's what you're saying. Like fixated, and it would have taken away from the actual.
They would have the stuff that you were really trying to point out. They would have missed it, because they were so like, oh my God, did you hear that? Blah, blah, blah. Because that is a conversation starter.
True,
anyway.
True. So
with that being, you needed that to get you going, to build you up, to do during the rehearsal part of it or whatever. But when it came down to the real talk, it wasn't pivotal. It didn't really need to be said for you to be able to make your point that you made, because everyone remembered the point that you made.
And how many times in our kitchen, in the living room, in the bedroom, where you're like, okay, I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say my part, and I don't care. I just need to get my point across. Mm-hmm. Is it really necessary? Is it pivotal? Is what you're saying? But the point that you need to make, is it life or death? Is it life or death? Meaning, is it going to add life or death to your relationship? Sometimes we say stuff, all it's doing is breathing death into the relationship. Sometimes it's breathing life into it. I mean, we need to really think about that to a certain extent. Are the things that we want to say, or the things that we want to do, are they, giving energy or draining life out of, the covenant, out of your marriage, out of your relationship? So, I mean, there were a lot of lessons. It's funny. Yes, I probably look for lessons in way too many things, to relate them back to our marriages. But it's just one of those great experiences that we were very happy to have the opportunity to come and share with you today, at least give you a little bit of a glimpse behind what transpired. And if, case in point, if we would have allowed ourselves to focus on like a moment, a negative moment, to take it completely away from all the wonderful things that transpired. It might have happened on the plane ride back when some fool that was sitting near us, and I cannot figure out who it was just must have ate a bunch of cheese. If you somebody in our area was lactose intolerant. Snooks and I kept looking at each other like, I'm going to choke somebody out if I survive this.
Okay, first I thought it was a guy next to me. The first time it happened, I was like, he just passed gas? And I kind of looked at him sideways like, homie, what the heck, you know? And then it happened again and it happened again. So I started sitting up.
And again and again and again.
I can't see over any seats, but I'm looking through cracks. I'm like, I'm trying to find out somebody's trying to adjust or whatever. Oh, I was so upset. I mean, I was mad. I was like, thank God we got masks on, but still,
Right.
It was penetrating through the mask.
I was so mad. I'm like, oh, I should have brought my N95.
You should have. Lovey was elbowing me. I was like, it's not. He had his hood on. His eyes were looking like, can you smell this? I mean, you know, we were conversating through our masks. And so I was like, I'm trying not to talk because I wanted to get in my mouth.
Talk about the devil was on point. Devil was like active.
Bananas.
Getting our Uber, or not Uber, but getting our Lyft taken. Dude, avoiding us because we were black. And then now you got, the mad farter on the plane. I was looking for the air marshal. I'm like, there is a full-on assault happening right here,
crazy.
Right now on this plane.
That was just ridiculous. I was
I'm
like,
throw them off without a parachute.
I need to be asleep so I don't smell this because it was crazy.
Right. Oh, and you're like, oh, he's so violent. Look, they had so much gas, they would have floated down.
Oh man, it was horrible.
It was
you guys.
ridiculous. I'm like, dude,
really
get
ridiculous.
up and go to the bathroom. Then Snooks got mad at me because I always get the window seat. I might switch it up and start getting the aisle.
He is no longer allowed to get the window seat. Here's the thing. If you have to use the bathroom, or if you feel like you're a frequent bathroom user, don't request a window seat. Now, I will say Lovey has been pretty good about, if he gets up, it's only one time. This time, did you get up 3 times? Two or three times.
But look, in my defense,
oh my God, there's no.
In the past, I always grab a window. I've never had an issue. But since the treatments for the bladder cancer, I've got it in my head now because the doctor just said it over and over again. When the moment you feel like you need to go, you need to go. You cannot sit there and hold it in. So I'm like, okay, I get the inkling, I'm going.
So it kind of almost made it seem like it was Lovey that was passing the gas because it would happen and he had to keep getting up and going to use the bathroom. So I'm just saying.
No, it definitely wasn't me because I had the decency to get up and go to the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway.
I was like, Lovey, are you serious right now? You got to go to the bathroom. And he was like, get up. I got to go to the bathroom.
Poor dude. That was.
So then the guy had to get up and then I had to get up. And then I was like, we can't just stand here and wait for Lovey to come back, which you weren't gone a long time. But as soon as I sit down, here comes Lovey again. I'm like, you're not allowed to get up anymore. So yeah.
You can't be mad at me. Be mad at the mad farter. That dude.
That was ridiculous.
No, but it was a really good time. It was worth going back and having that full experience. I'll probably try and post some pictures. I don't think I have yet on the website or on the.
Oh, let me tell you what we did after the TED Talk. So we went to the boardwalk in Jersey Shore. Do you know we found
in Long Branch?
A Long Branch. Do you know we found an arcade of all retro games? I about lost my mind in there.
She did lose her mind.
Oh my gosh. And I was like, Centipede and Millipede were always my games. Shoot, I got in there. I was playing. I hurt my arm. My arm was so sore from playing. I got top score twice, the 2 top scores on Centipede. And I think I was the 3rd top scorer on Millipede. I was going in, y'all.
She was killing it.
Oh,
And
my goodness.
I usually do really well on the driving games, but she killed me on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was, oh man, she was in her element. It was such a great concept. You go in there, you pay X amount of dollars. All the games are open. They're free.
Yeah.
Well, unless they're free, we pay.
Well, yeah.
You pay for time to be in the arcade, but you just go up to the machine and start playing it.
It was great.
So much fun. I got to play Galaga. I haven't played Galaga in ages.
Do you play Defender too?
I played Defender, but I didn't really like Defender.
I didn't play that game for nothing.
And I even played. Well, Defender wasn't too bad, but Asteroids. I even sat down and played. I thought, man, I forgot how hard this game was. I remember I used to be like just a brute when it came to we used to play at Pizza Hut over there on what was that? On 40, was that 47th? No, on Franklin and Florin Road.
Oh, Pizza
Hut. We would sit there. Anthony Salgado and I would go. We'd order a couple of pizzas after we did our B route. It used to be B boys, paper boys. And we'd ride our bikes up there, order 2 pizzas, and we'd sit there and play Asteroids all day long. We'd sit up there 4 hours just playing and eating.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out the way of any Asteroids. I got smashed. But Galaga, I came close a couple of times to getting on the board, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
I have a video of her talking smack as she was winning.
I wasn't talking smack, babe. I just was like,
she was having a good
I
time.
got the high score. Just don't be mad at me.
I'm gonna post that this week.
Came from the West Coast, had to come out here and dominate.
That's right. It was a Tupac move over on the. No, just playing. That was a good time. So hey, hope you guys enjoy us going down memory lane and sharing our adventure with you. As always, we are very appreciative of each and every one of you. You have a lot of choices to choose when it comes to your podcast listening. And we're happy that you're choosing Married into Crazy. Please go out and tell one friend. Everybody tell one friend to come back and listen. You're going to get some more stories. You're going to get some more. We have a lot of things to talk about coming up. We have an amazing interview coming up this week that I can't wait to get this one in the book so we can get it out there. It's with an incredible couple that also does podcasts, but they do podcasts that are full on acting podcasts. These are what are called scripted podcasts, where there's story form and a storytelling, and I'll let them tell the story.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's really good. Yeah. So a lot of things coming up. You have anything you want to share?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, make sure you go to the look in the show notes and go get make sure you download that Intimately Us app. It's a phenomenal app. You can start to hear more and more about that because it's a good app, particularly when you're looking for ways. It's got games that you can be more intimate, you connect better with your spouse or your loved one. There's so many different things you can do in this app that's going to help you stay in that courting phase, right? We like to court, meaning that, you like the chase. Well, it helps you stay in the chase even after you've won your prize. So with that said, until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.